Alright, what is up everybody? Shout Scout 0013 here coming in with a video on the new custom Jedi Knight General and Jedi Knight. And I will go over a few different lists with them that I've built that hopefully kind of show you the different style of builds that you can have. I know in the last video that I had when I first created different builds of the General or Knight themselves, I made the mistake of putting two different Jedi trainings on an individual mini, which you cannot do. So you can only have one Jedi training on a mini at a time, and then the other training slot is for like tenacity or into the fray or offensive push or whatever you're gonna put on them. So I'm going to go over a few different list ideas. It's basically four lists, but there's one of them that has like two variations. So I'm going to go over kind of like five, but it won't be like that other one. I'll just kind of like talk about for a second. So just a quick little thing. If you haven't head over to the Discord yet, head on over there now and join up and just start chatting. We've got Grant here with his Cad Bane all finally finished, and there's lots of cool stuff that he's been painting, and it's really cool to see all the different stuff that you guys paint. Even if it's not necessarily Legion related, you can kind of show us what you got. I think that the ponchos here are really cool looking, and if you haven't seen these, I suggest checking them out because they look really good. So you guys are really great painters. And then you can check out over here. You can talk about your tournaments, anything like that. It's really cool. If you can subscribe and leave a comment, that would be great for the channel. And if you would like to be a member, that would be really nice and very helpful. I would greatly appreciate it. But all right, let's go ahead and get into it just for the sake of moving on and getting everything ready and done. Okay, so the Jedi General, if you don't remember, has Deflect, Immune to Pierce, and Master of the Force 1 already, and then you have to equip basically a Doctrine, I guess if you want to call it that, and then a Lightsaber. So just real quick, the Jedi Guardian gives you charge, surge to hit, and then you can gain lethal 1, basically make it a Pierce 2. The Jedi General of the Republic gives you bolster 2, direct clone trooper, which is really, really nice, and inspire 1 to give you that extra little bit of suppression removal as well as a command upgrade. And then you also have the Jedi Consular, which gives you steady and a new force upgrade slot. It gives you blast impact naturally at range 1 to 2 with 3 black. You might not surge. You probably don't surge at all, so you're just really looking for paint, unless maybe you took the Jedi training that kind of gives you reliable 2. And then also you've got the Jedi Negotiator, which gives you a training slot upgrade as well as a spray attack with white dice. It's blast and suppressive. The suppressive is really nice. Blast is okay because, again, you're probably not surging unless you've got the reliable 2. And it's really tough. I mean, it's not necessarily the best. It's just, you're probably taking it for the extra training upgrade slot, and then this is just like oh, wow, great bonus. But that is all 4 of them. And then the lightsabers, you get a double-bladed lightsaber, which gives you charge, unless you already have it, which if you already have charge, you get tactical. It's a red, 2 black, and 3 white. It gives you ram 1, impact 2, pierce 1. You have the regular lightsaber, which gives you block, as well as 2 red, a black, and 3 white, which also gives you critical, and then the normal impact to pierce 1. And then the twin lightsabers is really nice because it gives you 8 dice, 4 black, 4 white. High velocity, which is really good to have because then no one can spend dodges against it, and you probably might surge, which is really cool. And yeah, it's such a nice one to have, especially for saber throw, because then you can just throw 4 black. But okay, so here are a few different builds that 2 of these I've played and really enjoyed. It would be this one and another one. And so you've got the Jedi Knight General. This is the one that Coco Zula usually complains about because you've got burst of speed. Oh, sorry, let me just go over it. You have Jedi Guardian, which gives you charge, surge to hit, and lethal 1 added to the pierce 1 already. So now And you've also got charge with Guardian, so now you've got tactical 1. So double moving gives you 2 aims. So you're probably going to double move. You get Ram 1, which now you can change a blank white into a crit. You're probably going to spend 1 aim to re-roll, which gives you an average of like 4 to 5. I've found so far. And then you spend the second one for Pierce. And so now you've got a Pierce 2 weapon, which is like 4 to 5 hits that they're going through, or crits. And it's really, really nice to have, taken out a few different guys with that Pierce 2. Then you've got the Burst of Speed and Clairvoyance. And with Jedi Training Force Adept, you're basically, instead of expending it, you're going to exhaust the upgrade instead. So you never lose Burst, and you never lose Clairvoyance. So this is awesome, because round 1, you could burst the speed, get it back. Round 2, you could burst the speed again at speed 2. And so now you've just been able to move, 16 inches round 1, and then 12 inches round 2 while using burst. And then you can still, do force push, and then you get back force push since you're probably already in melee. You don't need burst of speed. And then the next turn, you will get rid of your immobilize token, and you still have force push. You still have clairvoyance, which you can use. So like if you don't like your offense roll or defense roll, then you can re-roll it. But since you're getting 2 aims, you're basically just using clairvoyance for defense. So if you don't like your defense roll, you're going to be able to reuse it. And then if you don't need to force push, which you probably will, because I'll explain in a second, clairvoyance can come right back up. So the fact that you've got the double-bladed lightsaber with Ram, force push, I feel like is almost necessary, because if you're like really in melee with one person, you just force push them away from you, and then you maybe aim and move into them, or dodge and move into them. You get your dodge and then your aim from tactical, and then because you force pushed and now you moved, you actually get to activate Ram 1. So force push always is basically activating Ram, giving you that free crit every single time, and then you've already again got Pierce and Impact. So if you're going up against Dark Troopers, you can force push them because they're trooper units, and then you just melee them, you gain your Ram and your Impact, and boom, you're good to go. So I think force push is not necessary, but basically necessary for a double-bladed lightsaber, because you're trying to be aggressive, you're trying to use Ram, you're trying to do everything you can with that. And then I've got Into the Fray as the second one to gain those surge tokens, especially if you have to use clairvoyance, because you got like 2 blanks and a block. You re-roll it, maybe you get like a block, a surge, and a blank. Well, now you can spend that surge token, and now you've been able to take 1 wound instead of 2. So it's so much better to be able to have a burst for movement, clairvoyance for defense, and then your force push for more offense, and then your double-bladed lightsaber giving you a whole bunch of stuff. So it's really, really nice. And then Clone Captain Rex to give you basically the Scout 2 and Improv, because this is the Guardian General and not the Commander, so you don't get a command slot on him, so you kind of have to have a different commander for Improv. And then I've got the Scout 2 specifically for the General and the Clone Infantry, the naked guy, because then the Clone Marksmen already have prepared positions, and then your ARC Troopers already have Scout, and your Clone Commandos already have Infiltrate. So every one of your guys will either have Scout or prepared positions, or Infiltrate. So it's really nice. You can get on the board wherever you need to go fairly quickly, fairly easily. You've got 3 Clone Commandos, which just have the Katarn and the Config, and then you've got 3 ARC Troopers with the Medic and Targeting Scopes, and then you've got 2 Marksmen and a Clone Infantry guy, and then you have Rex and the Jedi Knight Guardian. I've used this and been able to get off the Captain Rex's 1-pip with the Jedi Knight General. So imagine adding 3 more reds to the attack pool already, and then I had tenacity, so I got another one. So I was rolling 5 red, 2 black, and 3 white. So that's giving you 10 dice, and then you're probably spending that aim for Pierce 2, so 10 dice Pierce 2, and 5 red is a lot. So you're going to be able to get a lot through with this guy and Captain Rex together, especially since he's more of a aggressive type general. And the reason it's on all of this is on general is because of Master of the Force 1, to be able to get back that push every single time. But it's fun. It's really nice. I mean, you've got some hard hitters between the ARCs, the Commandos, a Jedi Guardian, and Rex. It's really, really good. So yeah, this is one of my favorites. The other variation that I've actually very much enjoyed is pretty much the same thing, except the Jedi Knight has tenacity instead of the Into the Fray. And then you've got a clone commando or clone commander with improv and recon, so that he can probably round one. You might not give. I've been doing the 3-pip hero attack of the clones to be able to give my 3 commandos in order round one, giving Delta 2 aims, the other clone commandos 1 aim, and then a surge as well. So they're loaded up on some tokens, and then you've got clone infantry that all have surges. You probably, since you're not giving the order to the 2 commanders, it's nice to have 2 commanders in the bag, because then if you pick a commander, you don't have to go with the General Knight. You can go with the clone commander. And then maybe you've improv to get something else. Oh no, now your improv is spent, and now you've pulled another commander. Well, you can still scout 1 onto the board, bolster with the clone commander, and then recover. So now he's actually just doing at least something more on round 1 than normal, or if anything, he's at least getting close enough to be more like active on the table. And the free direct to a clone infantry means that you can actually go with an infantry person first that round, and put him where he needs to go, and then now you've got a dodge probably and a surge token on the board in case you need it somewhere. So it's really nice to have. And then again, 3 arcs with medic and targeting scopes, and then Delta Squad with O push, and then 2 clone commandos. It's been a lot of fun. I love Delta Squad. I know they're not like the greatest and most efficient, but it's really nice having 2 black suppressive, and the free recover action is really, really good. And then the no suppression. So like they don't have to be in the middle. They've been kind of getting in the middle with me, but being able to not be panicked and suppressed means that they can maintain a POI a lot better. And with 3 medics, I've been mostly using them on the commandos, unless I need to have them on an arc. Like if I turn 1 start losing arcs because they don't have an order, then obviously I'll start clone medicing them. But yeah, it's 11 activations for both of these, so you've got quite a bit of aggressive units with a lot of activations. So it has been working out nicely. All right, let's change our directions. The command cards, I guess I should say, would be obviously Calming Captain, the Flow of the Force. You've got Push and Take That Clankers. Air support is possible, but I've been wanting to give out more orders than normal. But air support with Rex, with the fact he's got Sharpshooter and Surge to Crit, is actually really not that bad. And yeah, you could go with it. And then Attack of the Clones, to be able to, round 1, give them to the Clone Commandos. So that way they can drop in when they need to, and they already have that aim. And then, obviously you could give them to the Arc Troopers if you wanted to. But, being able to get a free aim that round 1 is really, really nice. Because then you can shoot and recover, and you already have the aim. And the next turn you're already set again. And then Affirmative General, because if you had to, what you could do is you give it to your clone commander, or not clone commander, your Jedi General, and then the other 2 you don't give out, because you also have improv, and you do free speed 1 moves with either the commandos. So maybe you shot recovered, and now they're still out in the open. You need to move them behind some cover at the beginning of the round. Then boom, there you go. Or if you shot and you moved behind cover, well, now you put them back out of cover. So then all you have to do is recover and shoot, because I don't know if I said that right. I'm going through. So yeah, you shot, you moved behind cover so that you can not get shot because you deployed them early. Now at the beginning of round 2, you've moved them, and now all you have to do is recover, shoot, and you're already in a good spot. You've kept them alive all of round 1. Now round 2, you're good to go with shooting. So yeah, the Affirmative General is also really, really nice to have, especially, if for shifting priorities. Like if you had to move closer to something, or for close to the pocket, maybe you needed to move closer to something because you decided to shoot rather than move. This is a great way to kind of get that extra move in. If you were able to add Padme in as an operative, which I've seen somebody do and get 12 activations, which is, if you're in the Discord, check out the Discord and go to the clone or the GAR tab and check it out, because it had Padme in there. It was like 12 activations, and it was doing really, really well. And, Chronic Canuck and Boo Radley, sharing lists and being able to use it, which is really, really cool. That was one of the main points of hopefully making this Discord. But yeah, so free moves, always a plus. So if you're able to get, instead of the clone commander, if you really wanted to have Padme in there instead, you lose direct, and you lose the fact that you've got two commanders in there. You still give her improv, and maybe you give her strike team leader. You still have 8 points that you can do with what you want. So maybe, you know, you decided, and maybe, all right, so hold on, maybe you give yourself into the fray. Now you've got 10 points. You give one of these clone commandos, HQ uplink. Sure, that could be good, because there's really no point of getting 10 points on anything on the clone infantry. So now you've got the ability to, give this clone an aim, or the clone commando's name, so that way if you draw an arc squad, you move and then you shoot, well, you've got 2 aims and you've got target scopes on them, which really does a lot. So yeah, and then Padme, you bring her 2 pips, so now you have 2 different cards that allow for a free speed 1 move, and you're a very much more mobile unit, especially with your commandos, when they're mostly wanting to just recover shoot. Getting those free moves with the commandos and then still getting a recover and still being able to contest a whole bunch of stuff with them is very much important in this, and with the objectives that we have now. Okay, so let's shift gears and go to the General of the Republic General. With Barrier, Saber Throw, the Peacekeeping mission, in order to have prepared positions and reliable 2. So prepared positions allows you to put them on the board so that force barrier is actually active round 1 a lot sooner. You already have a dodge. You've got a lightsaber, so you've got block activated because you already have that dodge now. And then you've got Saber Throw, which would give you 2 red and a black. Critical 1. So that's, really, really nice to have. And then you've got Trusted Agent on him to be able to give out an order to the Jedi Knight. And then you've got a clone commander in there with improv. You've also, I don't have a Jedi training slot on this guy. He's just a general. He doesn't really have charge at all. He's mostly there kind of on the back end to just provide support. That's really it. Because then your Jedi Knight is going to have the Jedi Negotiator with blast, spray, and suppressive, mostly using it for the extra training slot to give him strike team leader. You've got a double-bladed lightsaber, so he has charge, so you're good there. And then he's got Master Duelist to gain critical 1 on his double-bladed lightsaber, so now you've got RAM to change a blank to a crit, and then you've got the possibility of getting another Surge and making that a crit, and then Pierce 1 impact, so he's going to be good against any kind of armor stuff, and he's got Burst of Speed so that he can really kind of move in there when he needs to. And yeah, that kind of makes him slightly aggressive, and at least he's now got a ranged attack against, little tiny murder bears or tons of Geonosians. He doesn't surge to hit, but, the fact that it's oppressive and spray and blast, kind of gives you something in there. You've got a Clone Trooper Infantry with 5s and the DP 23 Clone Trooper. And because you have the General of the Republic in Bolster 2, this is really going to work well with Marksmen and other units, like with Direct Clone Trooper. Maybe you can go ahead and just direct 5s. Or, because you have the Clone Commander in here, who can direct 5s, you can then direct a Clone Marksman that has a Mortar and Clone Specialist. And then you've also, again, got Direct, so you could give an order to the other Marksman. So now you just have Special Forces basically in the bag. And maybe you've been able to use, the Trusted Agent to give your Jedi Knight an order when he needs it. So you're really good on orders. If you did have let's say we took out an ARF Trooper unit and we put in a Clone Commando unit. Let's just say, let's put in a normal one. Give them the HQ uplink, just in case. You can always free direct from the Clone General, the Clone Commandos, so that they can get their free order for a free aim, and then that, you move with the Arc Strike Team that has Echo. Now you possibly have 2 aims, one from Tactical 1 and then one from the Clone Commandos to be able to use, or if the Marksmen are close by to the Commandos, you've now been able to give the Clone Commandos an order with HQ uplink or direct, and now they have a free aim that the Marksmen can use. And yeah, you've also got one with a Specialist, so maybe the one with the regular Mortar Clone Trooper can use that extra aim. You've got ARC Troopers in here with Ahsoka, and targeting scopes so that they can double move and garner some aims. You've got the strike team mostly again for aims for the marksman. You've got ARFs in here for extra long range, and you've got clone commandos now with the HQ uplink. You still have 13 points left, so if you really wanted to put an extra guy on the 5s unit, now you've got 10 activations with a hefty, not as hefty as a whole squad, but at least a good one with 5s and the shotgun trooper. So yeah, at least these guys can move forward. They're going to gain pierce and charge, and now you've got an extra guy on there for 1 extra health just in case. Ahsoka is going to have the charge and critical and targeting scopes, which is really, really nice. You've got ARFs, again, the strike team and the clone commandos for long range to protect your Jedi Knight, your infantry, and the general, again, who's mostly back there to keep some guys alive with force barrier. Now there's another variation of the General of the Republic with barrier, force reflexes, the normal lightsaber, and acumen as definitely more of a support guy and trusted agent. You've got a clone commander with improv, and a lot of people don't like clone commander. I like him because of bolster, especially with the marksman, and I like him because he's going to also be able to direct somebody. And so now you have a way to get extra surges out there, an extra way to get an order out there, especially if you need to play a 1-pip somewhere and you probably want to go with one of the core first. Then I like them a lot. Your Jedi Knight is now more of the aggressive person with Guardian, Burst, Force Adept, so that you can get Clairvoyance and the double-bladed lightsaber. So he is now charging in with Tactical, and you're going to be able to hopefully spend that Clairvoyance for defense if you needed to. Your General Knight is trying to guidance aims onto the Echo Marksman with the clone squad and dug in, so that way they're not dying, and they're going to be able to get an aim, hopefully, by the ARC troopers here with the clone medic. You're kind of keeping them close, double moving round 1, and then taking a dodge, so that you have 2 aims and a dodge because of the scout. Now your Echo Marksman here can, since they already have prepared positions, can take an aim, shoot, and now they have another aim from the ARCs. Or if you're able to guidance them with the General, you can guidance and aim on the Marksman. Your ARC troopers have already gone, and now you've decided to go with the Echo Marksman. So now they have 3 aims to use. 1 from a guidance, 1 from taking the action, and 1 from the ARCs. And now you've got long shot available, pierce available, and a reroll available. With dug in, they're not going anywhere. Then you have another marksman with the clone commander for an extra surge and inspire. And then you've got the dug in on them as well as a mortar, so you can spend that surge token for defense if you needed to, because you're going to have critical 1 with the mortar and suppressive. And it's really nice to be able to get that extra little bit of offense in there. If you needed to take an aim and reroll, you could. If you needed to take an aim, since you already have critical, and then now you have a surge, you could get 2 crits through and suppressive. And then you've got 3 clone trooper infantries with the shotgun, so you have 5 core, mostly because you're going to have a very aggressive melee piece here, and then you've got a melee pierce in the back, a melee piece in the back, not pierce, piece in the back to be able to support your marksmen as well as, protect them. Your clone commander is handing out extra surge tokens, and you've already got surge tokens on the marksman. You've got reliable 1 on Echo. You've got a reliable 1 on the clone commander. You've got all the surge tokens already from reliable on the clone infantry, so you don't necessarily have to worry about that, but you have more surges from the clone commander for defense to be able to keep them alive. And so your back line should hopefully not fall at all unless they're just getting some really big shots through. So this is going to be able to make sure that you're making the most of your marksmen, and yeah, it's just really, really nice. Now, I've really enjoyed being able to have the acumen either on the General Knight here, the Jedi Knight or the Jedi General. Mostly being able to just kind of move up and guidance something is really, really nice. I wish that you could, put the peacekeeping mission on here to have prepared positions and the acumen, but it's just not doable. It makes them a little bit tougher to have to go about, and you can't give them scout unless you decided to change this clone commander out for Rex. Then you can scout them up. then you can guidance, and then you can take a dodge, or since you've got force reflexes on here, you can just use that and then master the force, bring it back, giving you that block every single time. But yeah, it's really nice. You've got 2 points left over in case you want to do whatever. And then, battle plans. I've got all these on everybody. You're probably bringing bunker and recover the research definitely with marksman, because with the way that it's all positioned, it's right next to the line. You're already going to be practically scoring round one already. You don't have to worry about it. Shifting priorities is okay because you can have the POIs come to you, especially by like maybe round 3 if you've been able to move and then or guidance and stuff. And breakthrough could also be okay, but you got a lot of long range, so everything's going to be super close before you know it. So there's no real point to it. And with close the pocket, you're kind of I don't know. I wouldn't do close pocket with this one. But if you got any other questions, let me know. And then lastly, we've got a Jedi Knight General with the Consular to have steady, and we've got the double-bladed lightsaber to have charge. So you basically have a relentless general. You've got force push on there because you have the double-bladed to activate ram each time. You've got burst and reflexes to give yourself that extra dodge. You've also got the block with the Master Duelist and critical 1. So now your double-bladed lightsaber not only has ram, but critical 1 since you're not surging. And you don't necessarily have to use, burst of speed. You could technically do, the clairvoyance if you wanted to, because the fact that you've already got steady and charge, you don't have to worry about just being in melee. But burst of speed obviously is really nice. So, yeah, you're always attacking and doing more with your Jedi Knight General. You got Rex in here to be able to give them Scout. You have Bad Batch in here because Bad Batch is awesome and Bad Batchy. You've got the 3 clone marksmen with the extra guy. You've got an ARC Trooper squad with clone medic and emergency transponder, mostly for moving to generate aims, and then if they need to be close enough for any type of melee threat, they can. You're using emergency transponder probably to give an aim to the marksman on a turn that you need it. And then you've got 3 clone commandos. You're going to be trying to probably give them the Attack of the Clones round 2, so that your marksmen all have aims to use if they need it, because then, round 1, maybe you've moved onto the board and recovered, or you've moved onto the board and moved behind some cover, so that the next turn when you've given your clone commandos aim, they're probably going to be sharing it with a marksman, and then they can go and start doing some stuff. You can also, again, use the commands of Affirmative General to give out an order just to maybe like the general right here and do a free speed 1 scout move technically with any of your like Bad Batch or your Captain Rex in general. But you've already got scout already, so it's like you probably won't be doing that because you've all got marksmen. Everyone's got infiltrate or ways to get onto the board already. So maybe instead of using the Affirmative General for free moves, you just go ahead and give them out the orders so that your clone commandos and your whatever get the free aim. And then unless you needed to, maybe you've gone too far with Bad Batch. You don't give Bad Batch an order. They do a speed 1 move backwards to get out of range 2 of something, and then you just keep moving back. Or there's lots of options with command cards in here. You obviously have we do what we do instead of we're not programmed. Air support, take that clankers, so that way you can just take an aim and then move with Bad Batch. So now they're at speed 3 or range 3, and they were able to still get a move in and then shoot. So there's lots of really fun things to do with Bad Batch and Captain Rex together. And then you've got, your Relentless General to be able to just start doing a whole bunch of fun things. Your Clone Marksmen are covering you. They've got some range 4. You've got tons of range 4 with your Clone Commandos. And some really close range with your Arcs, your Bad Batch, and your Rex and Knight General. 10 activations. So we are getting, at least 10 activations in all of these lists. So that's really nice to see with Republic. So you'll have to let me know in the comments down below what you think of these lists and your favorite Jedi builds with the custom unit. I'd like to see what you guys are running. I've heard a lot about the Jedi General and being able to use him with Acumen or Peacekeeping Mission. I've seriously been enjoying the Guardian with double bladed lightsaber, push, clairvoyance, burst speed, and force adept, so that you're always having clairvoyance and burst when you need it. And sure, you could put Padme in here again for the extra surge tokens, and being able to have strike team leader on one of the arcs to be able to give them at least an extra aim or dodge. And you could I've also been enjoying the one with Captain Rex to give the Jedi Knight the extra scout. So you have a scout 2 move, and then you burst a speed, and then you're really good to go at the end of turn 1, especially if your opponent over deployed. But yeah, guys, let me know. I've got even more lists, especially with the Jedi Guardian. Being able to, I think one of these is my favorite. The aggressive Jedi with Bad Batch. It's 8 activations, but you've got my favorite build with the Guardian. You've got Rex with Improv and Recon. You've got Bad Batch in here. You've got an Ahsoka massive squad in here with the shotgun and prepared supplies. You've got a marksman in here with the mortar and the specialist for that free aim. You've got another marksman in here with the medic, the mortar, and the clone specialist. And then you've got 2 clone commandos. So you've got lots of ways to be able to shoot and suppress. And you're very mobile with the clone infantry, Bad Batch, the Jedi General. You're given scouting party to Bad Batch and the Jedi General, and your marksmen are able to just already be on the board. Your clone commandos are already infiltrating, and it's just your clone infantry squad right here that is going to be, the only one that's kind of like moving onto the board and then doing something maybe. Unless you've decided to go with, I think the battle plans I've given Garrison in there, so that at least everyone's on the board, and Ahsoka gets a free dodge. And then she doesn't get an order, so she gets a second dodge, and then she's got prepared supplies for a third dodge that round 1. So you're definitely prepared with her. It's 8 activations, a little beefier in some ways, but a lot of fun. You've got a lot of bigger names in here between Rex, Bad Batch, Ahsoka, and the Jedi General, which is fun. But yeah, guys, again, let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, it's pretty short, but head on over to the Discord and check it out. You can, talk about whatever in here. I'm not really a stickler about it because it's a community that I really want and just want to build. So yeah, post your tournaments, post your photos of your finished projects. Let us know what you're doing. If you're playing Tours of Duty and you want to, put something in here, definitely throw your ideas in here. It's fun to see different people, playing off of each other's lists, and just kind of seeing the amazing painting that you're doing, especially Auburn alumni, being able to show us the difference between the old Chewie and the new Chewie, and that enormously different size from model to model. It's crazy to see how much bigger the new one is compared to the older one. I mean, it's like the bigger brother of Chewie. So yeah, it's cool. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. All of the lists are in the description down below. My hair is getting way too long, so I'm going to be getting a haircut soon. And as you see, something is probably missing. And I'll talk about that in the live portion from Monday, which I'll be recording a little bit later after this. So go back and check that out. It's mostly talking about list building, and we will be building lists and probably some announcements and stuff. So yeah, thanks guys, and I'll see you later. Peace out.